Hello, hi there. Yeah, how are you doing? When I finished my last video and I switched off the camera, I was thinking, who am I doing this for? What is the purpose of this exercise? Who am I doing it for? Well, so the simple answer is, of course, for you, and you decide whether you find it utterly boring or if you hopefully like it. Remember, you can subscribe. Talking about YouTube, yes, everybody says for your channel to have a purpose, you have to find your niche, or as some people call it, niche. I actually, start liking that word because it rhymes with itch. It kind of makes sense. It means I'm itching to tell you a story. Other people say, don't worry because you are your niche and you will find your way. That might be true, but I still need to get my head around it. What is the purpose of this channel? It's entertainment. Well, one thing's for sure, I'm German, so I have no sense of humor, obviously, which means if you're looking for funny videos, just go elsewhere. Talking about Germans, an anecdote that just crossed my mind the other day was a while ago I was working for a designer who clearly loved German cars, and at that time I was driving a pretty but also pretty unreliable Italian one, and he was telling me then, Christian, you should have gotten you a German one to stay out of trouble. And I replied, well, you got yourself a German designer, does that keep you out of trouble? But yeah, anecdotes, that would be another reason why people might want to watch this channel, anecdotes and gossip and the yachting industry. That's a good point, because people do love stories, juicy stories from the yachting industry about the rich and famous. That's not what I'm doing because obviously, we are not talking about clients, and quite honestly, I think for me it's actually the least interesting aspect of my work. Am I here to actually sell you something? Like, am I trying to sell my services? Hell yeah, of course I do. I'm doing this here for a living, so there wouldn't be, it would be great if you would just come to me and say, Christian, can you design me a yacht? Might happen. Hope so. Or am I doing it actually for the young and aspiring designers that I mentioned the other day, the ones that ask me for advice or want to learn a thing or two? Maybe, probably. Yeah, because as much as I like to, earn money by what I'm doing, I also love to give, and I love not necessarily advice, but I just want to give something back. But most of all, I'm doing it for the curious people, the people that like to tumble down Alice's rabbit hole, that want to learn and find out new stuff, and generally for fun. It's well, if you have wondered, if you have been wondering about the name of my design studio, Coquine Design, which is French and means scoundrel, rascal. That's something that I actually developed when I was still a student for industrial design, and we did this exercise of corporate identity, logo, corporate colors, letterhead, you name it. And it was done for imagined business. But while I was doing it, I actually realized that I put a lot of myself into that, accidentally probably. And it turned out to be something that I felt was pretty much describing what I wanted to do in design and how I wanted to do it. I wanted it to be fun, a little bit naughty, a little bit cheeky. There's of course the saying that yachts are female, so I don't know how politically correct that is nowadays, but yeah, I think the design that I fall in love with is a little bit cheeky and playful, and that's how the name, well, came together, how the logo, angel, devil, formed. Time for a disclaimer. You might have heard it, kids don't try that at home. In most cases that's probably the right thing to do, or rather not to do, but in this case it's definitely wrong. Yeah, you saw me sketching earlier. No, that way around. I'm talking about sketching, doodling, the things that the young aspiring designers are supposed to do, and that's for a good reason, because you need to practice. Designing or sketching is like a language that you should speak, because that's the way you communicate, and you should definitely do that at home. You should also do it in a cafe, on the train, better not when you're driving, but in general, wherever you are, because you are a creative person, and you can't just switch it off and not be a creative person. That's well, at least for me, that just doesn't work. So whenever I have an idea, I just sketch it or note it down in any way. I usually have my sketchbook with me, a trusty ball pen. You're not supposed to become a great artist, if you look at that. My design professor used to say that my lines look like cat's hair. But that's okay. It's just about communicating an idea, so do that as much as you can. And that's it for now. So, yeah, what's next? The idea of working from home versus working from a studio with your colleagues. There is why I settled to live and work in Valencia. I will talk about one or the other, or many other projects and concepts and designs and lots of things, lots of ideas. Still figuring out, but yeah, it's a start, isn't it? There is also the relationship between art and design. That is something that really inspires me, so I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. In general, you will hear probably a lot of my opinions, and yeah, don't forget, they are just opinions. That is me, that is how I got to where I am, and you might have a totally different opinion. In that case, I'm always curious to learn what you're thinking. In the meantime, I hope you'll stay around.